I'm Angie Fenimore. I am the author of Beyond the Darkness. I wrote the book about a near death experience that I had back in 1991 when I died at my own hands. And I decided I'm just going to video post. So much of what I want to say doesn't actually communicate in a little 1-inch blurb, you know, uh, on Facebook. So recently, um, a post, I posted something on Facebook that I have, I think right now, 117 comments on. But the interesting thing is, because I'm an author and because I'm known as an author, I have a lot of Facebook friends who are from all over the globe and from different walks of life, different religions, different points of view, and I love the banter that goes across. It's quite entertaining and eye-opening, and I love that my page brings people together to have conversations that really do examine what it is this life really is, and what matters. So also, that most of you know that I'm going through a breakup, or that I recently went through a breakup. And so I'm going to respond to this post of mine, but I'm going to include a conversation that I had with my ex today, and something that came up, because those two things are the same thing, actually. Okay, so this post says, go 24 hours without complaining, not even once. Then watch how your life starts changing. And so I even had one fan that ended up blocking me because she just could not be with the idea that there are some things that you should have every right to complain about, like justifiable complaints, people who are cruel to you. And some of her complaints were valid, and but I couldn't really communicate effectively what I was trying to say in a little message on Facebook. So I spoke to my ex. We had an amazing conversation. He gave me my heart back, and we ended things powerfully. And something that he said was, I hope in the end, when everything shakes down, there was more good for you than bad. And my response to him was, it's all just circumstances. Human beings assign circumstances with labels, good or bad. The circumstances are the backdrop, behind real life. And we've collapsed our relationships with people, with other human beings, with the circumstances upon which those relationships exist, the stage. And we assign an empty bank account as bad, and lots of money is good. My car recently broke down. I would have said that was a bad thing. I needed to lose some weight and was too busy to really work the gym into my schedule, and I'd been in an accident that injured my arms, and I was having a hard time lifting weights. I would have said all that is bad. So my car breaks down, right? My kids go to school 25 miles from the house. They're in an amazing charter school, and if I were to pull them out, they wouldn't get to go back. So it's a big deal that they go to this school, and it's 25 miles from the house. So we sorted out public transportation like pronto, and the kids got proficient in getting themselves back and forth to school. And not only that, but they are experiencing themselves as powerful and self-reliant, which is what I want for my children, is to be very clear that they can have anything that they want in this life. And so they've made it possible that they can continue to go to the school of their choice, even in the face of a broken down car, right? And so I would assign that a good circumstance. And then just me walking back and forth to bus stops and tracks platforms. I've put on a size 6 this morning, and back down to where I'd like to be, and with no effort, really, no real changes except for the car broke down. And then that time that I have on tracks and on Front Runner, I'm able to write. It takes me 8 hours to get to go to a chiropractor appointment and get home, 8 hours, and it's a 45-minute drive away. But, on public transportation, that's what it's taking. But that time has been useful and amazing. And the connections that I've made are sometimes quite profound. The only thing that we take with us, the only thing that comes with us when we cross through the veil onto the other side is our relationships with people. And I am talking that relationship with the woman in front of you at Walmart right now. Every interaction with another human being is a relationship. And, human beings, we are emotional creatures. And it's very interesting to see what happens to us emotionally against circumstances. We respond to circumstances emotionally, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's through our emotions that we experience beauty and love and all the things in this world that enrich our lives. So the point is that the circumstances are just the circumstances. That's all they are. And we get to choose. We get to choose what kind of quality our relationships are going to have. When you cross over, not only do you take your relationships, you bring back recall in absolute perfection and detail, not just from your point of view, but from all points of view. Everyone who's ever interacted with you, you get to experience it from their point of view as well. So Ben, this is for you. I'm going to scroll down and read just the beginning of his last comment. He says, I went 23 hours. Does that count? But does this post reflect a challenge to those who have everything going good? I have a friend, and she came to work for me when I lived in Las Vegas and owned a furniture store. I'm an artist as well. Everything in the store was custom made, and then I painted it with murals. I had a children's line, and I catered to, kind of the rich and famous in Vegas. And but she asked over and over again, and I said, I don't need help. I have all these kids that work for me, and it's got to be my artwork. That was the whole design of the store. And the last time that she called me, I had just gone through a divorce, and I went through a divorce pregnant, by the way. And I had just had my baby. He was 3 days old, and I was back at work. And she calls and she says, don't hang up. God told me I'm supposed to work for you. And I said, fine, you're a lunatic and you're hired. And so we had a running joke. Oh, that's why I was supposed to work for you. Oh, that's why I was supposed to work for you. And there was so much that came out of this relationship with this woman. I grew so much in her presence, and so did she. So we were painting one night, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., getting ready for a show. And she opened up to me and told me that she suffered from severe phobias. And I had no idea what she had to go through just to work up the courage to come to work for me. She couldn't ride on elevators, escalators, the freeway, couldn't board an airplane. There were all kinds of things. And then she told me about this experience that she had, and I'm going to share that with you. Of all things, she has no fear of heights. She was always the one up on the ladder, hanging things up on the high walls in the store. So she had what we would call, all the things that we all want. She had a nice home. She had lovely children that adored her. She had a great husband that was faithful to her. But she was really suffering silently because nobody knew about all of this, right? And she had a Sunday where nobody wanted to go to church. Her husband had to work or something. And the kids said, why do we have to go? And she was irritated by that and frustrated and, dealing with the experience of the phobias that she was dealing with. And so she goes in her bedroom, she gets on her knees, and she says to God, you promised joy. Where is your joy? So she goes to church, and she's sitting there. And the music that day was provided by the African Children's Choir. They are the ones who provided the music for Blood Diamond. Okay, these are the Sierra Leone kids who were missing arms. These were all orphans. at an orphanage. It was the orphanage that does this, by the way. All these kids, they travel around the world and they sing, and then they send these kids to college with the money they make. Some of these kids had seen their parents killed. Some of these kids were turned into gorillas and made to kill their own parents. Okay, that's who these kids were. And my friend says that the chapel was filled with light, and these children were filled with gratitude. And they all shared little snippets of their lives and the gratitude that they had that they were still here among us, and, for all the kindness that rescued them. And so then she heard a voice say, "You're going to Tobago. You're going to serve my children." And she says, "Okay, I can't even get on an airplane." And in a year, she orchestrated an entire group that went over a 4-year period of time. And they built a school for the underprivileged in Tobago. And if you know anything about Tobago, school stops, if you're not one of the rich German kids, at 6th grade. And then your options are, drug dealing and prostitution to earn a living. And the school allowed for these other kids, all these kids, to go to school. So she's on the top of this rickety scaffolding, all right, it's bamboo tied together, 3 stories high. And she's tying rebar to wire. And she asks God, "Why did you send me all the way to Tobago to tie rebar to wire?" And she says a vision opened up. And she saw, through her efforts, the walls that would create this school, and through those doors, all the children that would go through and come out the other side, educators, physicians, pastors, people who are out to make a difference in the world. And, I've never gotten over the experience of traveling to third world countries, and the people who have the least are often the people who are most grateful for what they have. So that is my message to you today. That and I request that we do take this on. Go 24 hours without complaining and see what shows up. And if you break your word and you complain about something, start over. Good grief, start over with a new 24 hours. What an incredible way to live your life. What else are you going to do with your life? You can live your life complaining, or you can live your life choosing who you're going to be in your relationships and not worry so much about the backdrop of the circumstances, because sometimes the circumstances could be assigned good, sometimes they could be assigned bad, and you could flip those labels. That's all just the fodder. That's the fodder. So I am signing out. Watch for more of these. And I'm accessible through Facebook and through email. I'm going to give you my email address because my Facebook account is at about 5,000. So it's Angie@angiefenimore.com if you'd like to reach out to me. Blessings to you.